The community property fact pattern from July of 2007 is almost completely conventional. It does present one interesting issue, an issue that has never been tested before or since. Take a look at the call of the question, and you'll see instantly it's a community property call with 4 different items of marital property. We're instructed to answer according to California law. As we skim it, the first 3 of these 4 items are very run-of-the-mill issues which we've seen before, and we'll see again. First, child support. We know the rule about child support. The separate property of the parent spouse is primarily liable, but if there is no separate property, then community property is on the hook. With regard to payments on the student loan, we look at the dates that the loan was taken out, and we look at whom the bank was extending credit to. But mostly, we just look at the chronology. With regard to a law degree, we've got a 10-year rule to apply. Again, very simple stuff. And then, finally, the goodwill issue. Let me ask you a question. How many people who sat for the July 2007 bar exam do you think were prepared for this goodwill issue? Answer: very few. But this is a perfect example of a situation where common sense gets you to the right result. I think most high school debaters could come up with the correct answer to this question, given the facts presented. Remember that we are to reason our way through issues that we don't really know. And the way to do it is narrowly and specifically take a look at the facts. And doing so in this question makes the goodwill element of this fact pattern as easy as the other 3 parts. So we've got 4 parts. We've basically got 4 15-minute short answer questions on our hands. Take a look at the fact pattern. This is a fairly difficult fact pattern only because it's a little complicated. Take a look at paragraph 1, and you find out that this marriage was born in California and it will perish in California. So there are no quasi-community property issues or other threshold issues that we're going to need to take care of before we get to the actual analysis. In paragraph 1, we get all these facts about savings and checking accounts and earnings, but notice, those aren't line items in the call of the question. And so I think that's what makes this question a little bit unusual. You have to do a little bit of careful reasoning with the facts, but once you get into it, it's quite simple. The only call of the question directly referred to in paragraph 1 is the child support issue. But we know that husband doesn't have any separate property to speak of to cover this obligation, and therefore community property is going to be liable. Basically, we know everything we need to know to answer the first 25% of this question, just based on a quick look at the first paragraph. Go to paragraph 2, and we learn a lot of important information about the loan and about the law degree. So we've got part 1B and part 2A in this little short 3-line paragraph. And again, we're not seeing anything here that we haven't seen many times before. These are simple, straightforward issues, and we will respond to them with great ease. Now, turn to paragraph 3. Here's where we get the most elaborate set of facts going to call of the question 2B. This is the goodwill issue. But I don't think you need to know an elaborate body of California community property law that happens to exist on this point. You can know one thing for sure. If the law firm agreement is putting a phony and deflated price on this goodwill value, we're not going to let them work a fraud on the wife and on the court by getting into some phony agreement that stipulates the value of goodwill is lower than it actually is. Now, as it turns out, California community property law holds that the value of goodwill at the time that this marriage dissolved is, in fact, a community asset. And so, in this fact pattern, husband is going to have to give wife some compensation. Then we get to the call of the question. We don't see anything here that we didn't see the first time we looked at it. So, turn the page for a minute and have a look at the outline of issues. And you shouldn't be surprised by anything that you see. This outline of issues is identical in structure and content to just about every other outline of issues that I've presented at community property questions over the last couple of decades. Is the community entitled to reimbursement for the child support? we go to the source and actions, and we reach a conclusion that the community, under these facts, doesn't have a right to reimbursement. 2. Is the community entitled to reimbursement for payments on the student loan? Answer, no. It was a community property obligation, and it was paid for with community funds. Question 3. Does the community have an interest in husband's law degree? Answer, yes. We start out by considering that the source of this law degree was community wages and community debt. The relevant law that we have to consider here is the 10-year rule. Only 5 years has elapsed under these facts, therefore the community has yet to be properly compensated for its interest in the law degree. Finally, the terms to number 4, does the community have an interest in goodwill? Answer, yes. The source of that goodwill is the community labor of husband. The actions that we have to be concerned about include this partnership agreement that stipulates a fake and artificially low value. Ultimately, the community is going to have an interest at the actual value of the asset. Very good. Well, that wraps up a quick review of the structure of these issues. Have a look at the example answer that I present, and you'll see there's nothing new going on here. This answer is identical in structure and startlingly similar in content to all of my other community property answers. And the reason for that is these issues are tested ritualistically in very much the same way over and over again. And if you've done a bunch of work on this subject with me, enough to have reviewed, say, half a dozen other questions, I think you'd have to agree with me. Now, take a look at the answer, and you'll see up front I start off with 3 sentences establishing this as a California marriage subject to community property laws upon dissolution. And I get right into the analysis of the items of property. And you'll see, with regard to both the source and the actions, with regard to the child support, I'm really getting into all of the details with regard to the source of the obligation and also the source of the payments that were made on this child support obligation. Then, under actions, I go into all of the relevant legal details, and I conclude that the community is not entitled to reimbursement for the child support. Next, we consider the loan in question 2, and here, focusing on source, let's keep in mind the chronology. Husband took out this loan when he started law school a year after he married wife. It looks as if he took this loan out only in his name, but obviously the debt was incurred for the benefit of the community. So, I say this loan is a community property obligation in the first place. As we look at actions, notice that I lead with the facts and indicate that he paid off the student loan using the money that he earned as a partner in this big law firm. Now, it turns out that he was putting his wages into a bank account only in his name, but that doesn't change the community property nature of that income. So, it looks to me as if community property income is being used to pay off a community property debt. So, I conclude that the community is not entitled to any reimbursement. Turning to question 3, the law degree, notice that under source, I go into a great deal of depth about the chronology, again, about how husband entered law school after he married wife, and he graduated from law school in 2001. And I'm very specific, again, in pointing out that the education was financed by a combination of student loans and the labor of wife, the community labor of wife, who supported the family while husband was in law school. So it seems obvious to me that husband's law degree is a community property asset. Under actions, all I really do here is quote the 10-year rule and then apply it, concluding that the community has an interest in husband's law degree, and that the community will be compensated by the court in whichever way is deemed most appropriate and equitable. In the last quarter of my answer, I turn to the goodwill issue. Now, this was the most challenging part of the fact pattern, just because we'd never seen it before. But, in fact, it's really no more complicated than any of the other issues presented here. I focus on the source of this goodwill, And I cite the rule, which is that goodwill attaching to a business as a result of community property labor is deemed a community property asset, and it's subject to division upon the dissolution of the marriage. I turn to actions, and here I focus on the stipulated value of $3,000 that the law firm is trying to place on goodwill for purposes of dissolution. But wife is not a party to that agreement, and it wouldn't be fair to allow husband and his law partners to cheat wife out of the value that California community property law says she's entitled to. So I conclude that the community has got an interest in the goodwill in husband's law firm, and that the community is not going to be bound by the firm's evaluation of value. And that's really the only novel issue presented in what otherwise is a strikingly dull California bar community property fact pattern.